What's happening, Hardscapers? Today I want to talk about setting up a project, how I set up a project, communicate that with the client. Let's get into this. So when it comes to setting up a project, there's many different things that we need to tackle and communicate with our client so that they know what they're getting into. And especially beforehand, we want to make sure that they are comfortable with the direction that we're taking their project and the things that are going to happen on their property. This all starts with getting locates for their property, and these are public locates. These are free to get. A company will come out and provide public locates for things like hydro, gas, water, whatever that might be, but the private locates will not be done. So if the client has other utilities, things as simple as irrigation lines on their property, you need to ask them before you start to dig as well. Make sure that they understand that you are not liable for anything that they do not tell you about, and that should be in your contract. Contact a lawyer to discuss how you can include that in your contract. But it's incredibly important to get those public utility locates that will cover you if anything were to ever happen that was not located even though you asked for it to be located. If you hit a gas line, water line, hydro, whatever that might be, you want to make sure that you were covered in that. Where I'm located, you have to hand dig 3 feet from any utility locate. So you need to be really careful when you are digging around those utilities. Other than that, if you were to hit something and you did get the locates, that responsibility more than likely falls on that locate company. So it's just one way to cover yourself in this situation. The next thing that we need to do is ensure that we have an approved design, and hopefully this has come a long time ago in the quotes based on this, but to make sure that everything has been communicated to your client so that they know what is going on with the design, any final changes. And then what we typically do is we schedule a meeting, usually days leading up to when that project is about to start, just to communicate anything else, ask any other questions that need to be asked, and to get lines spray painted in the ground to ensure that we have our grading right, to ensure that we can get elevation points if need be, and to get final measurements if this is required. Hopefully this is all done beforehand, but this is that final chance to be able to do that, get final orders in, and to spray paint lines for your crew to follow to ensure that everything is laid out from the design on the page to the actual excavated area for your crew, for yourself, and for your clients to be able to visualize that. A design, a 3D design actually really helps with this as well, with a plotted 2D design so that every party understands what is going to be happening with this project. And with that being said, we like to provide a small timeline of events, not necessarily the days that these events will follow. We don't like to provide a strict timeline as to what we're going to stick to, because things do pop up on every project and the weather is unpredictable as well. But we do like to create a timeline of events and to be able to communicate that with our clients, to let them know that this is going to be a disturbance to you on this day or around this day or at the time we are doing this, and this is what that disturbance is going to be on your property. For example, excavation is a major disturbance on their property. It's going to be muddy if it's wet. It's going to be dirty if it's dry. It's going to have a bin dropped in their driveway, and it could be there overnight. We do try to get those bins out same day, and it is something that I try to do for every one of my clients. That doesn't mean it's always going to happen though. So that is a disturbance that is crucial in our area where there's such minimal space in a driveway for their cars to be. They need to know that it is a possibility that that bin is going to stay there overnight and we won't be able to get it out for them. At least if they have a heads up, they can make accommodations otherwise for their vehicles. But regardless, the excavation phase is the most destructive phase there is. So just letting them know that things are going to look worse before they look better in that excavation phase really helps them understand this, as opposed to coming home home, seeing the yard is a mess, and not really knowing what's going on after this. And that also comes down to base preparation. Things are gonna get dropped in their driveway. These aggregates are gonna be dumped in their driveway. So you need to know whether or not this is going to be a problem. This will leave marks on an old asphalt driveway. That may be okay, but on a brand new stamped concrete driveway or paver driveway, that is not likely okay. So you need to make accommodations otherwise and communicate this with your client. Where is that aggregate going to be dumped? Is it going to be dumped on their front yard and then you're going to replace that yard? Or is it going to be dumped on the driveway, but this could cause problems with bylaw? And who's going to be handling that if the client doesn't want things dumped in their driveway or dumped on their front yard? This all needs to be discussed beforehand. And then comes the product delivery. What is that going to look like? Are you going to have multiple deliveries to be able to break things up in a small driveway so that it's not as much of a disturbance for that client? For example, if you're doing a big retaining wall in a patio, are you going to get the retaining wall delivered first because that gets installed first? Or are you going to get the patio stones delivered after? Break that up into 2 different deliveries. Make sure that you are including that in your expenses for that project, but let the client know that you're willing to do that to make sure that they can park in their driveway or to disturb them as little as possible. Let them know what that plan looks like. So with setting up a project, we need to let the client know what's going to be happening in terms of product delivery, where things are going to be going. Especially in this case, we got a very narrow driveway. We need to let the client know we need this many spots for our product to be dropped off. As you can see, we got our bedding material and aggregate bags. We were going to do a synthetic base, not going to do that here. And we've got a bin in the driveway. We just want to let the client know all of these things before we get to the project, to let them know how much space is going to be used up and let them know that they won't have access to their at least part of their driveway for this project. So you can see when we're not working with a lot of space, we need to be really careful in planning what we're doing here and having the dumped material and the material sitting here for this. Communicate that with the client, what's going on with this, and you'll be in better shape. And also the logistics for yourself of rental equipment or equipment that you're going to have to get into the yard, and how and when you are going to bring certain piece of equipment for the project. When are bins coming? When are bins going? Writing this all down really helps to keep it off of your head and somewhere where you can refer to if need be, rather than just remembering everything. That's a problem that I've had in my business, and that's a problem that I still have. And then finally, you want to leave that property better than the way you actually came to it. What we do is we do topsoil and seed if need be to be able to repair certain areas of lawns. And then we do also provide sod if the client wants that, and we make that clear to them in the contract that that sod would be an extra charge to be able to do this. But ultimately, you want to leave the lasting impression on your client that you take care of them, that you clean up well, because that's the final thing that they're going to experience from you, whether or not you do an amazing project for them, it looks beautiful and the quality is amazing. That final cleanup is just as important for that lasting impact. And that's how we set up a job from start to finish with every single one of our clients. Sometimes we fall short on this and sometimes we knock it out of the park. But that's what we aim for with every single one of our clients. That's what helps us stand above the competition in regards to this. If you have any questions, comments, anything that you want to ask in any step of this process, leave it in the comments section below. I'll answer anybody and everybody that leaves a comment. Like this video if you found it helpful for whatever reason, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.